Johnny Depp. A name that once conjured images of larger-than-life characters, a mischievous pirate, a misunderstood scissor-handed boy, a tragic poet, now also carries the heavy echoes of battles fought far from the silver screen. His career, spanning more than 4 decades, is a monument to creativity, pain, rebellion, and resilience. Few actors have bared their soul the way Depp has, and fewer still have paid as steep a price for doing so. But nothing in his storied past could have prepared fans or colleagues for what unfolded recently on the set of his newest film. In the middle of filming a pivotal scene, Depp, usually so composed, so methodical, broke down. It was sudden, raw, and devastatingly real. Witnesses described the atmosphere as electric and heart-wrenching, a collective moment of heartbreak that froze the entire set in stunned silence. For those who know Johnny Depp, it was not just the exhaustion of an actor lost in character. It was something deeper, something personal, something that had been waiting, silently, for a moment to surface. From the earliest days of his childhood in Owensboro, Kentucky, Johnny lived with the kind of instability that leaves marks no camera can capture. The son of a waitress and a civil engineer, Depp's early years were shaped by financial hardship, frequent moves, and turbulent family dynamics. His parents' marriage unraveled in front of him, and the fallout was brutal. Depp has spoken candidly about the verbal and emotional abuse he endured, calling it a constant walking on eggshells existence. He turned to music first. The guitar became his refuge. But it was acting that eventually offered him a new world to escape into, a place where he could disappear, reinvent, survive. Yet even as the applause grew louder and the accolades poured in, the fragile, wounded boy he once was never fully left him. It's that boy, the one hidden behind Jack Sparrow's smirk, Edward Scissorhands' sad eyes, or Donnie Brasco's haunted stare, who seemed to resurface on set that day. The scene itself was reportedly intense, dealing with themes of betrayal, abandonment, and loss, echoes of the very traumas that have shaped Depp's real life. As the cameras rolled, something inside him broke. Eyewitnesses said his hands trembled, his voice caught mid-sentence, and then quietly at first the tears began to fall. It wasn't theatrical. It wasn't performed. It was heartbreak in its purest, most unguarded form. The director, sensing the weight of what was happening, immediately stopped the scene. The set, usually buzzing with quiet chatter and the mechanical rhythms of filmmaking, fell eerily silent. No one dared move. No one dared speak. All eyes were on Johnny, not the actor, but the man. Crew members who had worked with Depp on previous projects said they had never seen him so vulnerable. Some discreetly turned away, giving him privacy. Others, overwhelmed with emotion themselves, quietly shed tears. In an industry known for ruthlessness and pretense, what happened that day was a rare glimpse into something real, something human. And then, after several long minutes, Johnny did what he has done his entire life. He wiped his face, stood up, and asked to try again. He completed the scene in one take. Those who witnessed it described it as electrifying, a performance so deeply authentic that it transcended the script. It wasn't just acting, it was living. To understand the gravity of that moment, one must remember the battles Depp has fought in recent years. His very public legal war with ex-wife Amber Heard exposed the deepest wounds of his private life to a jeering, judgmental world. Every painful accusation, every humiliating headline, every moment of vulnerability was dissected, mocked, weaponized. Although the jury ruled largely in his favor, the scars from that ordeal remain. It wasn't just his career that suffered. It was his dignity, his reputation, and perhaps most devastatingly, his faith in humanity. In interviews since, Depp has spoken of feeling boycotted by Hollywood. Once celebrated, he became radioactive. Once a heartthrob, he became a cautionary tale. Despite everything, he refused to fully retreat into bitterness. Instead, he turned to his passions: painting, music, independent films, anything that allowed him to keep creating, keep breathing. But healing is not a straight line. It's jagged. It's complicated. Some days you move forward. Some days the past grabs you by the throat and reminds you that scars don't just vanish. That day on set was one of those days. Friends of Depp say, he has always carried an immense emotional burden. He's a man who feels deeply, who trusts fiercely, and who loves without reservation. And when those he trusts betray him, the wounds cut deeper than most could bear. Acting for Depp was never about fame. It was about survival, about finding pieces of himself in the broken characters he played, and maybe, just maybe, helping others feel less alone in their own brokenness. This is why, despite the scandals, despite the years of painful headlines, Johnny Depp remains beloved by millions around the world. His fans don't just see the roles he played, they see the man. He is flawed, resilient, courageous. In the aftermath of his breakdown, cast and crew rallied around him. They created a protective cocoon of compassion rarely seen on Hollywood sets. There were no leaks, no salacious tell-alls, just quiet understanding, respect for a man who had given so much of himself both on and off the screen. Production continued, though at a slower pace. Depp, ever the professional, insisted on completing his scenes, pouring himself into the role with a rawness that some said was almost painful to watch. The result, insiders claim, is a performance that could become one of the most powerful of his career, not because of grand gestures or dramatic flair, but because of the profound, undeniable truth behind it. As one crew member put it, we didn't see Jack Sparrow or Edward Scissorhands or Sweeney Todd that day. We saw Johnny. Just Johnny. For a man who has spent most of his life hiding behind characters, masks, and carefully constructed personas, that kind of naked vulnerability was perhaps his greatest act of bravery. Johnny Depp's story is no longer just about Hollywood glitz or box office numbers. It's about survival. It's about a man who has been torn down, misunderstood, betrayed, yet still stands, still fights, still believes in the healing power of storytelling. And maybe that's why his fans love him even more today than ever before. Because in a world obsessed with perfection, Johnny Depp reminds us that beauty often lies in the broken places. Stay strong, Johnny. You are seen, you are heard, and you are never truly alone.